So now this is the second part of laying the stone plates for the terrace here. Some of the stone plates I already have just laid out on the ground end of last day, and now I basically had to fill in all the gaps in between of those plates. I had like a certain amount of cobblestones and round stones that were originally from the people who were building the paths through the village, and I could use them. It was quite handy, to make those also transitions from one a little bit inclined zone to actually the plain, or hopefully plain one, leveled out one of my terrace.
Fai un bel lavoro,
Sì. Adesso
ti licenzio, se no ti licenzio.
Puh. Ma adesso è una corsa contro il sole. Quando è un po' secco, infiltra meglio, no?
Sì, poi magari bagni un pochettino.
Ogni tanto, no?
Ogni tanto.
Sì, sì. It was my first time working with those cobblestones. I was maybe quite slow, but it's not really difficult to achieve, and it's quite fun. You put some sand, a little bit of concrete, then you have to hammer them in the concrete. You make like a little bit of almost a dry mix of sand and concrete, and you add the water once the whole pattern is kind of decided and laid out. It reminded me when I lived in Brussels. They were in those years restoring many streets of the old historic city, and you could hear like from the morning to the night over weeks and months, the little tack 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 with the hammers of those Portuguese workers who are incredibly fast plastering those old streets. Ah sì, sono stato in Colombia. 2 volte. No, ma sai, ho lavorato solo una nave, no? Poi siamo stati a Cartagena, in un porto, sì, ma sai, per neanche una giornata, no?
Allora ci sei andato.
Sì.
Vale.
Just yesterday and today, I could redo a drawer. I made a prototype already like more than a year ago, and it didn't really fit. You know, it's finally quite complicated when you use this undermount drawer slides, you know. I mean, in all the tutorials they say it's, you know, it should be quite easy, but actually, you know, to find out all the measurements and the right information on the web, I don't know, it's unbelievable, but it's almost impossible. And then, you know, also the difference between the US and Europe. I mean, I can not at all understand how Americans can still work with those incredibly complicated numbers instead of just 5 millimeters, 7, 12, whatever. Now, today in the afternoon, I managed, and I'm so proud that that first drawer, first of 3 ones, that is really, you know, has space, is finally ready for some kitchen utensils.
qua.